Hey, what's up everybody? Nate here from Out of the Basement, and today we've got a brand new figure review for you. Actually, two figure reviews, because this is a two-pack. We are looking at the Fighting Spirit Green Ranger and the Mighty Morphin Putty Patroller from Hasbro. This is, of course, one of the latest offerings from Hasbro and a super quick turnaround on these figures. I believe they were announced at like Comic-Con, and then just a few months later here, they're already in stores. Found these at my local GameStop. I know people had found them earlier, but I finally found them at my GameStop, so of course I had to pick them up because I've been loving the Lightning Collection so far. And while these figures are not perfect, they are still pretty good. So before we jump into the figures, I'll show you guys the box real quick, then we'll take a look at the accessories and then the figures themselves. Okay, so here is the back of the box right here, and it has an awesome image of the Putty and the Green Ranger, which look much better than the actual figures. You'll see later in the review, the gold is not quite this gold, nor is there really this metallic sheen on the actual costume, and a couple other things like the paint detail on the Putty's face not really being there, and of course, the belt is not actually white on the Putty, it is gray. So back image right here looks fantastic. The actual figures, I'll show you guys when we get to it. Of course, the front here, you can see it's empty. It's got the side art right here of Green Ranger and the Putty. So let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. Okay, so first up for the Green Ranger, we have, of course, the Dragon Dagger, which actually looks pretty dang good. Lots of nice little small details packed into the dagger. You can see the symbol right there, some really okay bits of paint. You can see there's like a nice green tint as well behind the dagger. And I think overall this looks pretty good. You can see the green a lot better on this side here. And I do like the sculpted details, looks pretty accurate to me. Of course, before this review, I thought I would revisit the Fighting Spirit episode from Dino Thunder, because that is what this Green Ranger is technically from. And then I also watched all of the Green with Evil episodes, so I was just feeling a little nostalgic here, and yeah, I think the Dragon Dagger looks pretty good. Of course, it could definitely be painted better, but it's Hasbro. We know how much these figures are, so you can't really expect absolutely amazing, perfect quality when the figures are so inexpensive. And he also has weapon storage for the Dragon Dagger. Fits snug right in there. And then we also have the Sword of Darkness right here, which looks really good. I think this is a very good representation of the Sword of Darkness from the show. The red is pretty clean. The black it can get a little sloppy, especially on this side. But again, the overall details and the little red hilt right there look awesome. And then of course, you get the green power effect here, which you can just kind of slide on however, and that just looks so dope. I know it's such a silly thing to be like, oh, it makes it look so much better, but man, all the Power Rangers figures just coming with these effects just add so much to the figures in my opinion. And then on the Green Ranger, he comes with a fisted hand and gripping hand, and he also comes with a karate chop hand and a flute playing hand. And then he also comes with an unmasked Tommy head, and this is the same exact head that we got with the White Ranger figure when that first released a few months ago, and the head is all right. Personally, I think maybe we should have gotten a more hair down look and not in the ponytail. I feel like this sort of hairstyle for Tommy, at least to me, is more reminiscent of the White Ranger. Especially just watching the Green with Evil episodes, Tommy's hair is down when he is unmasked. And I know that this particular design of the Green Ranger is supposed to be the Dino Thunder Fighting Spirit version, but still, I think maybe if we could have gotten a hair down sculpt, that would have been nice instead of just the same exact Tommy head we got before. But like I said, it looks pretty good. So let's take a look at the Putty's accessories. Okay, and for the Putty, we get a gripping hand and then a sword hand, which also can fit this nice little blast accessory right on there. Just plugs in just like that. And he also comes with a more relaxed hand and then this ball hand. And overall, I think the accessories for the Putty, the different forearm/arm pieces do look really nice. They have nice bits of shading and filled in the cracks of the gray plastics to sort of break up the monotony. I wish we would have got that with the face as well. Like on the back of the package, you can see the face is pretty plain, but the hands do look pretty dang nice. Mine randomly has like this yellow speck kind of deal on here, and we'll talk about that in a little bit because I feel like these figures were super rushed. So we'll talk about that when we take a closer look at both of them, which that was the end of accessories. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so here they are together. And like I was saying, these figures are pretty good, but I do have the feeling that these were rushed straight out of the door. The Power Ranger line clearly must be doing really well for Hasbro because they have just been pumping these out like nobody's business. So let's take a look at the putty overall. We'll take a close look at the details of the figure here. And you can see, like I was mentioning before, the head on the back of the box looks amazing, and this head lacks all of the details except for the mouth having that nice black paint in there, and the red eyes, which I do think look pretty good. His head is a little loose as well, and I like that they actually added the detail here. You can see of the sort of suit part of the outfit, like the classic show. Obviously, they're just guys in costumes, and that's what I really do like about the Lightning Collection so far, is that they are show accurate. They're not kind of like stylized like Bandai. They're actually show accurate figures. Of course, mostly it's just a gray body, and of course he is on the exact same Power Rangers body that all of the Rangers have been on so far. So you can see there's not really a whole lot different in terms of the articulation or anything like that, but you can see right here that the belt, like I said, is not white. It is just gray along with the outer rim of the belt as well. And you can see there that the paint detail is all right. It's a little sloppy, but it could be better. And the overall chest piece does look pretty good. I'm glad we at least got a little bit of those details. The back of the figure, of course, pretty much has nothing going on. And you can see right here, this is what I'm going to talk about, is the legs, super crooked. I have a really hard time posing Putty and even getting him to stand up. And you can see down here, he's got these big, especially this one, big gaps in the boot department here, where it should be obviously a snug fit. And if anyone out there knows how to fix this, if I can, let me know in the comments down below, because I would really like to adjust that, and maybe that would help getting him posed better. But you can see even the boots, they're still exactly like the Power Ranger boots. And also there's tons of marks on the figure and the Green Ranger itself, like right here and right here, and then especially underneath the face right there, you can see that big plastic chunk right there that needs to be X-Acto knifed off. So it seemed like they were just, you know, get these out of the factory as soon as possible. We need them. We need those sweet, sweet Power Ranger dollars. And I think these figures suffered QC issues because of it. My local GameStop had 3 packs, and these were the best of the bunch. I looked all over them, and these were the best ones I could find. And that is just a little disappointing that there's like silly things like that wrong with these figures. And you can see there's also stuff like that with Tommy as well, with the Green Ranger here. Of course, the chest plate is not as gold as it was on the package, and like I said, this figure more so has a more matte finish, and it's not like a shiny metallic like on the promo image. Of course, I understand that they're promo images and the figures are never going to look as good as they do in the promos, but there's still plenty to be annoyed about with these figures. So let's take a close look here. Get the Sword of Darkness out of Tommy's hand. All right, so starting with the helmet, you can see right there that the line of the 2 white pieces meeting in the middle there does not line up at all. The other ones were much worse than this, but even this one still is pretty annoying that it's not lined up correctly like that. Otherwise, though, the helmet detail is pretty good. And I personally do like the silver stripe. I know I've seen a lot of people on Reddit and stuff like that where they've just been painting it green, so it's more like the Mighty Morphin look. But you know Hasbro down the road is going to release one with an all green helmet, because that's what they do. That's how they make money making these figures, is they release the same ones over and over again with mild variations. And I think the Green Ranger will definitely have a more Mighty Morphin look sometime down the road. And you can see along the chest plate here, which is nice and soft, so it doesn't get in the way of the articulation, but you can see the black paint gets a little It's a little questionable right here. It definitely could look a lot better, and I could fill that in, but I'm pointing this out as problems. Obviously, most of these issues are easy fixes. And you can even see, just like the Putty Patroller, Tommy also has that little mark underneath his chin where the plastic was cut. But moving down, I think the gold paint right here, that looks solid, pretty clean, looks nice and metallic. And the gloves, you can see that they are definitely white, and then they paint green, and then they paint the gold over it. And you can faintly see the green underneath the gold paint, which is mildly annoying. Of course, the back of the figure is just pretty plain. The belt doesn't look horrible, looks pretty good. No complaints there, really. But here's my issue right here is look at how easily the green shines through the gold on the boots. The boots are much worse than the gloves. And this would have been such an easy fix. Just do a little bit more gold paint, do a second coat, something like that. But you can pretty much see the entire green triangles all the way around the figure, and that is just, it just makes it look rushed. That's all I can think about with this 2-pack, with how quickly it was released, that they just rushed these into production because the Power Ranger line is probably doing a lot better than they expected, maybe. I'm sure there are some much better sets out there, but for me, in my area, and only having 3 to choose from, these were the best of the bunch, and they still have plenty of issues. So, like I said, we're gonna go over the articulation, although, like I said, they're on the same bodies, so the articulation is pretty much the same. But I'll still go through some of the mild differences and show you like the heads and how different they go. So with Tommy, his head barely looks up and looks down just a little bit, not too much. The helmet definitely blocks the articulation, but the unmasked head, it definitely gives you a little bit more range. Of course, the arms move out really far, and they have butterfly joints, which I love, full rotation, double elbows that work great, no complaints there. And of course, the bicep swivel is also there. You've got the torso separation with a ball joint, so you can get tons of posing out of that. And then he also does have the ab crunch, which works really well. And he can go back super far too. I love this sort of double joint action Hasbro's been putting on the Rangers. Definitely makes them a lot of fun to pose. And the legs do move out pretty far. Not too much, but just enough. And you can definitely work it there and get better poses. Thigh swivel works great. Double knees also work really well. He has a boot cut as well, so you get full rotation out of that. And the feet can move down pretty far, and they move up far. And of course, that glorious, glorious ankle pivot. And then for the differences on the Putty, it's pretty much just exactly the same, except for the head definitely looks up a lot further and looks down a lot further because there's nothing to block the articulation. And he technically has these swivels right here. Ugh, God, it's so stiff. But yeah, you can swivel his joints, his arm pieces there, if you so choose. And that's really the only difference in articulation between them. Otherwise, they are exactly the same. So we're gonna go ahead and compare them to some other figures to see how they scale up. Okay, so here they are next to Lord Zed and the SPD Shadow Ranger. And then we have the Hasbro White Ranger and the Marvel Legends Moon Knight. And then we have the Black Series Mace Windu and the Funko Legacy Collection Jaime Lannister, which I just picked up at Ollie's bargain discount store, and it's honestly a pretty dope figure. Looks pretty good. And finally, we've got the NECA Nightmare on Elm Street 2 Freddy and the NECA Freddy vs. Jason Voorhees. So yeah, overall, while I do think these figures have plenty of issues for the price point and for what we've come to expect from Hasbro, I still think they are pretty good. I, again, like the show-accurate design rather than the stylized design from the Bandai figures that we got a couple years ago. And I think Hasbro continues to kill the Power Rangers game with these figures. Really excited to get my hands on some of the upcoming ones like Kimberly and the Magna Defender. And these figures have honestly been a joy and a pleasure to have. There's not a day goes by that I don't pick one of them up, whether it's Shadow Ranger, Lord Zed, or the White Ranger, or these two, where I just love messing around with them, being super finicky and getting them into different poses, because I think their posability is just absolutely awesome. And you can just see how great they both look despite the QC issues. So I definitely would give this set a recommend if you're a Power Rangers fan, or if you just like fun action figures. These will definitely do something for you, and they've awakened a love for Power Rangers in me that I haven't felt in years. Of course, what do you guys think of the figures? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, if you are new to the channel, we're always talking about action figures, movies, Blu-rays, all sorts of goodies. We also have an action figure podcast called Figure It Out, where we discuss mostly NECA and Black Series figures, so if you'd like to check that out, I will put a link to the playlist in the description. Share this video with your friends. Let me know any and all thoughts about these figures or Power Rangers in general in the comments. I'm Nate from Out of the Basement, and I will see you guys next time.